Hey guys, this is Mr. Ayala. Just wanted to go over some of the history detective stuff since we will be handing that in on the 22nd of November, which is next Tuesday. If you see here on the screen, I've posted the due date. So no other due dates matter except for this one, the 22nd of November. Again, that's next Tuesday, regardless of what day you have my class. So now that we have that done, let's go ahead and look at the rubric for history detectives, and I will explain that here. All right, so open up your rubric. You'll see that there are 4 different domains here, but we're only going to take grades for 3 of them in total. All right, so just think of this, instead of it being weighted as 3, think of it as 3 different assignments. Okay, so the first domain is going to be about research skills, so that's going to count as 1 grade. So that means it's weighted the same as a quiz. Same thing for the summary of information, it counts for 1 grade. And then the reflections during your research phase and student ownership will count together as 1 grade, which is why I have it counting as 0.5 here, okay? Because 0.5 and 0.5 is 1. All right, cool. So instead of focusing on all 3 of these, excellent, mastery, apprentice, and novice, we're going to focus on 4 and 3 because that's what we should be striving for. Definitely 3, if not 4. Okay, so let's just focus on those for now. So the first thing is about the graphic organizer. So as I've told you before, I'm only going to be grading one specific graphic organizer, and that's going to be of your choice. You get to pick it. So you get to take your time and figure out which one you like the best, which one you think you did the best on, and use that one for this grade. So let's look at what it says here. It says contains numerous details focused on the topic. Okay, so whatever your topic is, and for your graphic organizer, that would be whatever digging deeper question you chose for that one. And specifically your topic being your group overall. Make sure that your details are focused and make sure that they are actually answering the question that you've asked. So again, if you were looking for something like, say, your inquiry question was looking at change over time, say you were talking about a specific Native American tribe and how they changed over time. You might have used one of the graphic organizers you might have used would have been the time sequence one, where it's kind of like a timeline setup. And you would have said one thing happened and then another thing happened. And, for an example of that, we can actually look at that specific graphic organizer. So again, if we're talking about change over time, you probably would have used this chronological sequencing one. And you would have put your digging deeper question up here because that is important. You have to have your digging deeper question put there. And then your source should be here. So wherever you got the information from, I just need the URL. So again, make sure whatever digging deeper question it is, it's specific to your topic and it is copied here. And then make sure wherever you got the information is posted here. So if you got it on Click or World Book or, Britannica, wherever you got the information from, you're going to put it there. So you would be putting the events as they happen, event 1, event 2, event 3, event 4. If you had to add another box, that would be fine. Or maybe it might have only taken 3 events and you got rid of the 4th box. Whatever the case may be, that's how you would do it. And of course, just to review, in order to open one of these on your own, you would have to click File, make a copy, and then you would come up here and change copy of to your last name, and then you would hit OK. And when you hit OK, then you would have your own copy. So again, digging deeper question, your source, and then everything in here has to feed back into it. So how did a specific group change over time? First, they interacted with this group, and then this group did this to them, and they did that to them, or whatever the case might be. And then in the end result, this is what happened. That's fine. Just make sure that everything feeds back to that specific topic that we talked about over here. Again, details are paraphrased. So when you're putting information in these boxes, it shouldn't be copied and pasted from anywhere. It should be put into your own words. It says, question is answered thoroughly. Make sure it answered the question. I don't know how else to explain that, right? Just make sure you answered the question thoroughly. Your source is cited. We already talked about that. That goes up here. And best choice of graphic organizer used. So again, you get to choose which one you want to use. All right, so that counts as 1 grade. Summary of information. This is where we get into those summary slides. So I'll show you the example that Mrs. Smith posted for us as soon as that's loading up. And while that's loading, we'll just talk about what it says in the rubric. Students use own words to give main idea and most important details about the topic. Again, this is where you should be thinking about the power paragraph. And of course, I already posted a picture of the power paragraph and how that's done, so you can always look back at that. But again, it's all about presenting your main idea, offering a reason as to why that is the way you feel, and widening your information with some proof, right? And then, of course, explaining how that ties back in and restating your main idea. Well, you could do that and write a perfect summary just by doing that. All right. So make sure your main idea and your details are about your topic. And those would be going here in your summary slides. Sorry. So, summary of information for digging deeper, question 1. Make sure, of course, when you do this, so this is what I'm going to be looking at. Again, you're going to pick the slide, and that's the one you're going to use for this grade. So you're going to go back, say that this is that digging deeper question, right? Who are the important people or groups who are involved in the cultural interaction? So maybe you're talking about the cultural interaction between the Spanish and the natives, or the French and the natives, whatever the case may be. You would post that information right here. I would say post the question and then write your summary under it, right? So if you wanted to talk about who were the important people or groups that were involved in the cultural interaction, you would say the important groups were the Spanish and the natives. And you would go on to talk about why they were important in this interaction and the things that happened between them. And as it says in the rubric, you have to give your main idea and most important details about the topic. Summary is well organized. So make sure you organize it just like a power paragraph, right? Put out your information, why you feel that way, and back it up. It's just main idea and supporting details, just like you're used to doing in elementary school in the same way we're doing now, except we're calling it a power paragraph. And student clearly answers the question. So the question has to be answered. Whatever the question was, you have to answer it in your power paragraph. Okay, these are the groups, this is why they were the groups, and this is what was going on. You know, like the Spanish and the natives, it's because the Spanish came and they were conquering certain areas, whatever the case may be. And then you would start backing that up by talking about specifically what was going on between them. That would be your supporting details. All right, you will choose the slide that you like best, of the summary that you like best, and that you will hand in. And I will show you how to do that in a different video. Okay. And then reflections during research phase and student ownership will go together. So the reflections, going back to that, are down here. Reflections as I do my research. What is the most interesting information you have found about your topic today? Notice how they have dates and the things that they found, right? So this person is clearly talking about the Spanish, right? And they talk about how Father Junipero Serra is now a saint in the Catholic Church for his work trying to help the Native Americans and for spreading Christianity. Then on the 25th, we find out that the Spanish thought of the Native Americans as savages. The Native Americans thought the same about the Spanish. So those are some interesting things. With this, I'm going to be going through all 3 of your slides. So make sure you have some information for each one, right? This one says what was difficult. We always have difficulties that we come across when we're doing things. Any new learning affected by your viewpoint? And any new questions that you have. And again, you can take the time to read these and make sure that yours look like these examples. I'm not going to go too far into that. You have all the information there. Those are all 4s, by the way, in the examples. So if you're looking for an example of a 4, look at Mrs. Smith's example. That's going to count as half. And again, it says, reflections are varied, not only focused on one question, so all 4 of those different reflections, you should have something for all of them, and show complex connections to research material and process. So it shows that you were actually doing this while you were researching, that you were taking the time to research and then talk about things that you were having issues with or that you found interesting. And so that's that. And then the last thing is your Google Slides, that they thoroughly demonstrate effort to show his or her own individuality of response. So you'll see, basically that yours, you have some good pictures in there, right? You have all your reflections filled out. Everything is done correctly. Okay. And that'll count for your last grade there. All right. So that's basically it. If you have individual questions, it is up to you to come and talk to me about it. But that is a